For quite some time now, anime and tourism have gone hand in hand. Because a lot of anime use real locations as setting or art reference, anime fans, mainly those who live in Japan or were already going there, often make trips or pilgrimages to areas that were featured in or inspired locations in anime. Such as the village of Kasumi Town from Air, which has since been incorporated into the larger town of Kami, and those Sailor Moon locations that haven't been wiped off the map in the almost 30 years since it aired, and even some that were, since the arcade the girls hung out at is now an ordinary McDonald's and people still show up just to say they saw it. As this practice has grown, the locals and businesses around these places have started to take notice and will often do cross-promotions with the anime to attract these tourists. Now we even have shows like Tomoko Market and last year's Zombieland saga, which were developed with input from people in those areas and with those cross-promotions in mind from the start and woven into the shows. And of course, the more popular the anime, the bigger the tourism. Just look at Your Name, the highly successful film that hit Japan and Anime Expo in 2016 and the rest of the world a year later. The rural city of Hida is the inspiration for the town half the story takes place in that becomes the center of the film, and just like its counterpart, it didn't get too many visitors before. In the 2-year span after the movie came out in Japan, Hida drew in 130,000 tourists just checking out the landmarks in the movie. So, anime tourism is big, and getting bigger, and studios are noticing, as are places that want to draw more people in. But as it turns out, that's not just limited to places in Japan. For instance, even though Aria is set in a replica of Venice on a terraformed Mars, people have found some of the actual locations on trips to Italy. And Destination Canada, a Canadian government-run tourism board that has an office in Japan, decided in 2017, the year Your Name made it to theaters in Canada and around the world, to take a page out of the local attractions book and try to market the country to otaku. What resulted was a short commercial released that year called Warm Winter Canada, produced by the studio Comics Wave. Yep, the same production company that made Your Name, and Shinkai Makoto himself worked on the project as well. It's not the first time they've done advertisements actually, since they once made a commercial for Zedkai Cram School. The production team even came up with a backstory for the characters in this one. They're a couple in university who like to go backpacking to get away from their busy life, and the guy, Yuya, takes his girlfriend Satsuki to Canada for the first time to hit up a bunch of sites. The ad focuses on outdoor winter attractions like mountain climbing in Banff and the Abraham Lake ice bubbles throughout Ontario, Alberta, and BC, where Destination Canada has its head office. Just like the areas frequented in anime pilgrimages, they're very true to life. When I saw the Banff segment, for instance, I just thought, I've been walking down that street. The main idea was to increase winter tourism, since most tourists come to Canada when it's warm to avoid the often harsh winters by showing the warm side, with these characters having fun and meeting kind, welcoming people. Not pictured, just how long it takes for them to get all the way to Toronto from Banff, but people from small countries tend to highly underestimate how big large countries are when they visit, so I can't blame them. Canada doesn't often show up in anime. I can only think of a few instances, and most were from shows that made a point to show a wide range of countries. The only other instance of Canadian anime tourism I've seen was when Edmonton showed up in Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans and people started tracking down the locations from there. That's probably why this commercial made the round so quickly when it aired, that and its great production quality. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been to a place because you saw it in an anime, or what real-life location you'd like to visit because you saw it in an anime. This is Secret Identity Studio, and I almost want to go out in the snow right now.